So, as you probably know by now, Microsoft has officially canceled Scalebound, which is troubling not just for fans, but for other reasons that I'll get into in a moment. Now, we don't have a whole lot of details other than what Eurogamer stated that several senior members they claim they were forced to take a month off, I guess from stress or whatever. I don't know if it was forced from Microsoft or what. It doesn't really go into a whole lot of detail, but it also states that the game was constantly behind schedule. So Microsoft made a business decision to just cancel it instead of continuing to dump money into a project that couldn't hit its targets. So I always try to look at this from all sorts of angles. And on one hand, we've talked about this before, and I actually mentioned this in one of the last videos that I just made. These companies are there to make money. They're not there to make you happy. They're there to make money. And you got to have deadlines, and you can't constantly be throwing money at a game if it looks like you're not going to be able to get your return on it. Just the other day, there was an article talking about one of the Gears of War that came out. And it mentioned that that particular title only cost $12 million to make, and it ended up generating over $100 million, which is great, right? But then the next title that came out from Gears of War ended up costing $60 million to make, and they still only generated around $100 million. So their returns are about the same, even though the costs are going up, and so it's getting harder to recoup those costs. But this is troubling on multiple fronts, because on one hand, you got a lot of people, including myself, who were disappointed because the idea and the trailers seemed pretty interesting for this game. It seemed like it had some potential there. 4-player co-op, dragons, action RPG, and so forth. And a lot of people had put this on their list of most anticipated games. Scalebound was constantly mentioned as one of the titles near the top of games that people were looking forward to. But this also doesn't look good for Microsoft. They already get enough flack for not having enough AAA exclusives outside Gears, Halo, and Forza. Even though there are many other titles, you can't have too many of those. And it's just like how I was saying in that video the other day about Scorpio. I said it's going to take a whole lot more than power for Microsoft to sell this console to people. Everybody's talking about this being the year of Scorpio. Honestly, I see Nintendo selling a lot more Switches than I do see Microsoft selling Scorpios. It's going to take a whole lot more than power, and you gotta have a killer lineup of games. That's ultimately why people buy your console. And this is a huge chunk out of that lineup, no matter how you try to spin it. I know diehard fans are already saying that Microsoft made the right decision, and maybe they did. Maybe they did make the right decision here, but here's something that you cannot spin. Think about this. Think back to E3 2014, and this may be the ultimate red pill for some people. E3 2014, some of the games that they showed off. Project Spark. Where's Project Spark today? Gone. They showed off Fable Legends. Where's Fable Legends today? Gone. And so is Lionhead Studios. They showed off Phantom Dust. Where's Phantom Dust? Gone. Showed off Scalebound. Gone. I mean, if you look back to that E3, if you take out all those titles that they showed off, think about how the reaction would have been to Microsoft. Also at E3 2014, they showed off Crackdown. Now, apparently that's still coming, but it's been delayed as well, and we ain't seen or heard too much about it. They had the Halo Master Chief Collection. It might as well be gone, considering the disaster launch and the lack of being able to fix it in a reasonable amount of time for that title. So, you look at other things. You look at earlier this week, we saw Halo Blocks. If you follow my Twitter, I posted a link to a video showing off this Halo Lego game that never was officially announced, but it looked pretty damn good. Like, it looked like a really good little spin-off for the Halo series, but it also got canceled. And so Phil is starting to look a little bit like a Hatchet Man. And I mean, Phil's the guy who said he wanted to model Xbox after Nintendo. That means that he wanted to have a whole lot of IPs that they own. He doesn't want to go buy third-party games, so he says. So it's time to start seeing what he's been doing. You got to show people this year that you got a lot more than Scorpio coming up in the lineup. And you got to show people that you're committed for the long term when it comes to AAA titles, because if you make E3 this year all about Scorpio, people are going to be left wondering, what are you going to be playing on Scorpio? So you got to show games. And now that I'm looking back at E3 2014, even if you do show a whole lot of games, I mean, don't be mad if I'm a tad bit skeptical looking at how E3 2014 is now shaping up to be. So Phil's been at the reins long enough where you're now in the period where you should be seeing the moves that he's made and whether or not he's really been that huge positive change in the Xbox division. Xbox as a console has definitely gotten better, but I mean, what's a console without a lot of AAA games? And this, with Scalebound being canceled, is a huge hit, no matter how you try to spin it. Now, I don't think it's all doom and gloom just yet. I'm not saying that Microsoft is ready to, get out of the gaming market, but I'm also not ready to throw a rosy, ticker tape parade for them either. And we got to hold these people accountable, and you got to let them know whenever they make decisions that don't make you happy. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.